majority of women will apologize when they get emotional. And it's crazy that we all feel bad. And I'm like, that's part of being a human. That's what you're here for, is the feeling experience of being a human being on planet Earth. Feeling the grief, feeling the sadness, feeling the anger, feeling the disappointment, feeling the anxiety, feeling everything. It's all part of it. But we make all of those emotions bad. And by doing that, I'm telling you, if you don't let yourself feel those feelings at the depths of your soul, you also don't get to feel true joy, true love, true peace. You can't, because you don't allow yourself to feel. Hello, you guys, and welcome to this week's episode of the Expand and Evolve podcast. I have not recorded in a few weeks, and I was so excited to sit down today and just chit chat, because I feel like so much has been moving and happening and shifting within my own life. And I just know for the amount of stuff I have been feeling, there is no way you guys are not moving through this too. So what I first wanted to say is, like, if you have been feeling extra emotional, extra dysregulated, having issues sleeping, just felt off, felt more sadness, felt like different things are popping up in your life that you're like, what the heck? Where did this come from? Things that you feel you had, let go and felt like you had moved through and healed through, and that were no longer causing any emotional turmoil or pain within you. Yet somehow things have resurfaced these last few weeks, especially the last week. I just want to remind you that, like, you are not alone, because I have been moving through stuff that I'm like, whoa, what is going on? Where is this coming from? How is this showing up again? Feelings that you would just, like, I don't know, I'll give you an example. Something happened and it triggered a reaction in me that essentially was almost like, and it wasn't so much a reaction, more so reminded me of a lot of stuff that used to really hurt. So, an Instagram like of a specific page triggered me into thinking like about all these different things that had hurt me in the past. So situations where it was like ways I didn't feel seen or validated or whatever it even was. Like, I don't know, I'm thinking back, like when there was a comment about someone else being beautiful, but then he had never called me beautiful, for example, right? Like things like that were a past partner, for example. And so I'm just like, things that don't really make sense to who I am and the version of who I am right now, but are linking it back for some reason to stuff that happened in an unhealed, unconscious version of me. Does this make sense? So if you are feeling like you've had emotions show up and things show up and you're like, what the F, where is this coming from? Like, I have advanced so far beyond this. I have moved so far past this. I have healed through this before. I've let go of this before. Like, where is this coming from? I just want to reassure you, like, you're not alone. And sometimes what I feel like happens is when we are about to really progress in our life and maybe choose a different path or go down a different route or, lean into the new life and let go of the old life, and our ego is fighting for its life to keep you in that place because it feels more comfortable or safe or stuck. Sometimes stuff will resurface. And sometimes I feel like there can be multiple reasons for this. The stuff that's resurfacing could be because maybe deep down you didn't fully let it go. Maybe there was more to process. Maybe there was more feelings to move through. Or it could also be showing up to kind of test you of like, which version of you are you going to choose to be in this situation? So being re-triggered, let's say, and being brought to an old memory that the way you processed it then, likely if you've done work and you're like, more self-aware, you're not going to process it the same way now. And the way I've kind of seen it is like, it's almost like it's challenging me to, for one, acknowledge the little girl me who felt a certain way and was really hurt by that, and then feel those feelings, like fully, not just, oh, I've thought about it, I've acknowledged it, yeah, that really hurt. But like in that moment, the depth of what I actually felt that I never actually allowed myself to feel, to let that move through me now, because I feel like that's what creates that ability to transmute the true feelings of what you're moving through. And so like having experiences like that, okay, cool. You could be being challenged to actually go back, feel it, move it, and let it go once and for all. You also could be being reminded of old stuff where it's going to force you to be like, which one are you going to be? You said you want a new life. You said you wanted this new version of you. You said you wanted all of these things. But let's remind you of like this old version of you. And how are you going to respond now? Saying that you've changed and you've shifted and you're this new version, are you going to respond in a new way? Or are you going to still go down that same path and keep looping? And what I really feel like is happening right now on like a collective consciousness kind of level is we're being challenged to move through the loop. And sometimes in order to move through the loop and truly transcend to like a higher timeline, a better version of you, a higher consciousness, all the different things, a more healed version of you, um, a more growth oriented version of you, you're going to have to move through stuff sometimes that really hurt you in the past in order to transcend it, transmute it, and show up as a different version of you in the present now. And that may look like you reparenting yourself for those old moments, you holding space for yourself in those old moments. So just want to say, like, if you've been moving through it lately and your energy is off and something's weird and you're like, man, I thought I had advanced way beyond this. Like, what is happening? Why does it feel like I'm going back in time? Sometimes in order to really move forward, we have to take 3 steps back. So if you want to be able to move forward in this next season, I've heard a lot of stuff astrologically too, and like moving out of Taurus season, and this is really normal. And like a bunch of stuff was showing up for a lot of people in order to help them really like move through old stuff. And something that I don't know if this will resonate, but the way I was feeling grief earlier this week, I think it was like Monday and I'm recording Sunday, so almost a week ago. The grief that hit me, you guys, like I was so sad from like the depths of my soul, like laying on the couch, crying in the fetal position. And I couldn't function. Like I couldn't get myself to stop. I couldn't get myself to move through it quicker or let it go. Like all I could do was sit in the feelings and let it move through me. I was sad. Honestly, I kept saying, like, one of my friends was talking to me about it, and I was like, I felt like a grieving widow. Like, it was insane. Like, the feelings were just so deep, and the grief and the sadness was coming from, like, the depths of my soul in a way that made me think, "Is this even really mine? Or am I, like, transmuting and feeling pain for more than what is mine?" And so, of course, there were moments that triggered me into that and into those feelings, but I let myself cry. I let myself move through it. And even the next morning, the feelings were still there. Like I woke up, when you go through a bad breakup and you hope, like, you cry yourself to sleep and you hope you go to bed and you're like, oh my God, if this could just be over tomorrow. And then you wake up and at first you wake up and you're like, oh, a new day. And then the feelings hit again. And you're like, oh, like it hasn't moved out of my body yet. That's what it felt like for me. So even that morning, I was still crying. I was still off. And I was like, man, where is this coming from? And the only thing I could really think was like, okay, just hold space for like the younger version of you who is really sad. And I don't think you ever let yourself feel that sadness. I don't know if you ever let yourself feel the depths of like true grief. Outside of like one of my breakups was probably the one time I let myself like wallow in it. But it was like, what if you just let yourself wallow in this grief? Like, let yourself mope, let yourself do nothing without being like, but I need to do this, I need to do that, and I hate this feeling and I just want to get out of it. It's like, don't run from it, sit in it. Because I feel like something that I'm really learning is the more I go through healing and understanding myself and letting myself return to my body and return to this human experience fully, in order to truly be in your body, you have to be comfortable with feeling, which means feeling everything. So you want more joy, more happiness, more love, more peace. You don't get that without also feeling the depths of rage, grief, anger, sadness, disappointment. Um, all of those feelings, they're potent feelings. The feeling of true joy, true enlightenment, true love, like excitement, those things are just as potent as one another. And understanding not one is better or right or wrong, but it's like, can you get comfortable in your body feeling all of the feelings, allowing yourself to actually move through them, sit through them, and process them? Because what I've witnessed since, I've worked with a lot of people, seen a lot of people, I will see some people who are wildly uncomfortable feeling rage or grief or anger or sadness or showing any emotion that, like, God forbid they show any form of weakness or whatever. And then I've also seen people who, like, I do these events called Drinks and Dreams, and majority of women will apologize when they get emotional, will apologize if they cry. And I'm like, no, don't do that here. You're safe. Like, let yourself cry. This is emotional. And it's crazy that we all feel bad. And I'm like, that's part of being a human. That's what you're here for, is the feeling experience of being a human being on planet Earth. This is what you came for, was to feel from the depths of your soul, to feel what this experience feels like. And when you can just realize that and give yourself grace and space, you start to understand, like, feeling the grief, feeling the sadness, feeling the anger, feeling the disappointment, feeling the anxiety, feeling everything. It's all part of it. But we make all of those emotions bad. And by doing that, I'm telling you, if you don't let yourself feel those feelings at the depths of your soul, you also don't get to feel true joy, true love, true peace. You can't, because you don't allow yourself to feel. And I've witnessed this in some people who they cannot let themselves feel joy. They just won't allow it. The moment something should feel happy, they stop themselves from smiling. They won't let themselves laugh. Something that should be such an ecstatic, like, overjoyed moment. Let's say you're like winning an award or being recognized for something incredible. They'll stop it because they don't feel safe feeling joy, because they also don't feel safe meeting themselves in feeling sadness. So it's like, when you start to get this, even though like joy you feel up here and like sadness, you're like, ugh, understanding neither is bad or wrong. There's something so beautiful about giving yourself the space and the freedom to feel all of it. And I feel like that's part of being a woman, returning to your feminine, returning to your body, is being in your true essence of whatever is coming up for you, and understanding that is a superpower. No, you shouldn't be erratic and crazy and over emotional. Like, if I was walking through the grocery store and all of a sudden I'm just like erratic and crying everywhere and screaming everywhere, like, there's a time and a place. Obviously you can be in your feels, but like, creating a safe space for you to be fully expressed. To be fully expressed everywhere all the time is not realistic in our society. Like, you know? So it's like creating the safe space where you could be fully expressed. And that's something that I've really focused on over these last few years, is when I feel the depth of my sadness and I can feel it bubbling, it's like, you need to be alone tonight. You need to journal tonight. You need to carve out space tonight. You need to do yoga. You need to do a practice to connect you to your body and see whatever is trying to come up. Let it come up. Let it move. Journal if you need to. Do some oracle cards, whatever you've got to do to try to bring yourself back to that like nervous system regulation, and giving yourself the space. So I don't even know how I got back on that, but ultimately understanding like this human experience is not just, oh my God, I just want to feel peace in my life. Well, in order to feel peace, you also need to feel sadness, and you need to welcome it, because the more you shove down the emotions, you're not getting the full human experience. You're just not. And you're not going to get those amazing feelings of joy either. And something that I will say is, like, back when I used to suppress my feelings a ton, um, I've been having some really great chats with my ex, actually, to try to like just communicate through the experiences that I was feeling and also what he was feeling, and like how we co-created that together. So rather than, I feel like before when we used to talk, it was so much blame, like, you did this and you made me feel like this and you never did this for me and you didn't do that and this is what I needed, blah, blah, blah. Like, very finger pointing, and him vice versa, right? Where now I feel like I'm in this place where I have true understanding and acceptance, where we're able to be like, okay, how did you show up and how was I showing up that co-created this experience together? And like, where did I not feel supported and where did I not feel loved? And like, why did I feel like that? And what did I actually need? I know I did a podcast recently about this where I was like, as women, we need to get better at communicating what we need, but we feel bad for it. And I want to kind of talk about that too. So let me go back. So in order to truly feel like the grief, the sadness, letting that move, right? Since I've allowed myself, so previous me would suppress all my feelings. So the moment I feel sad, it's like, oh, I feel sadness, distract. I got to do something. I got to keep busy. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to go for a walk. I'm going to go do something to move myself out of this. And I'm not going to let myself feel, because there's people around, and God forbid I let them see me cry. So I would never let anyone see me cry. I would hold it in. I would act normal, swallow it, say nothing. And then when people would say nice things about me, and anyone who knows me well knows this, I used to get really awkward. I couldn't receive a compliment. I couldn't receive nice feedback. I would like deflect and try to divert it. Like, I was like, I wouldn't let it land. And I just was in this, yeah, like, I would suppress my emotions and feelings because it didn't feel safe to express them. And therefore I wasn't fully expressed. So the most truest, authentic, most authentic version of me didn't exist, because by not allowing myself to cry, to feel, to go through the bigger emotions and like feel safe being seen in them, I also didn't show love at its full expression. I didn't show my joy at its fullest expression. I didn't show up as me. And like I'm a very loving person. Like I naturally want to hug people, like give you that love. And back then I think I held myself back from it because it didn't feel safe because I didn't allow myself to fully express myself. So it's not just like, oh, if I don't, you just don't let yourself cry in front of people. I guarantee you, you're also not letting yourself love people at the way that you would if you let yourself be fully expressed. And that has transformed my life in allowing myself to feel things. When I first started my business, I'll never forget, I was doing an award ceremony and I started crying and everyone was like, wait, what? Like she cries, she has emotion. I've never seen this from her before. And it was the beginning of that version of me, like coming back online. And, I just remember it was so beautiful because it like everyone was crying because of it. And I was like, oh my God, I couldn't get myself to stop. But I was so proud and I had so much love moving through me for these girls that I was giving awards to that I like couldn't stop. And I'm like, that's joy too. That's love. Like emotion is not bad or wrong. And as a woman, I'm like, that's our superpower, you guys. Like, yes, we want our men to feel, and yes, we want to see them express too when they need to, but naturally, they're not going to be in that state as much as we are. And it's finding that acceptance for men, for one, to understand if you are heterosexual and you want to be with a woman, get comfy with the emotion. She's going to move through emotions. That's her superpower. Let her move them. Let her process them. Let her go through them. There's nothing you need to necessarily even fix. Just let her move them and create the safe space for her. For the women, it's like, that's a superpower of yours and it allows you to be deeply connected, deeply intuitive, and also be an amazing partner and support system to being able to feel the dynamics of what's going on. Like this is part of what makes women so special is that we are emotional, that we do feel, and that we're deep feelers. And I feel like for so many women, they've completely repressed it and shut it down because the world we live in, society as we know it in North America, doesn't necessarily make it safe. Doesn't necessarily create the space for you to be able to feel that and be with that. Um, and so on the topic, the reason that I wanted to talk about the needs thing, I was doing a call yesterday about money. And what I asked some of the girls was, I was like, what is the memory you can remember, the biggest, boldest memory you have about money? Like when you were a kid. And this is a totally different podcast that I could do. But the reason I want to bring this up is because for the majority of them, what their answers were, I remember looking at a menu and ordering what I wanted and getting scolded after and being told I was selfish because I said yes to adding chicken, not knowing it was an extra cost. Someone else shared that they had just expressed that they wanted something at the store and being told, we can't afford that. Like, how dare you ask me? You're never coming back to the store if you ask me for anything again. You can fill in the blank with your memory of that, right? And especially if you were born, I don't know, I'm in my 30s. If you were in your 40s, 50s, beyond, like that was just the way the world was. Then it was very normal, you could say, where people were budget friendly, being conscious of spending, whatever. So most of us grew up in that dynamic. And the reason I bring this up is because are you really shocked that you don't know how to communicate your wants and needs? Like imagine as a 2-year-old, 5-year-old, 7-year-old, 8-year-old, fill in the blank, that you're told you're selfish. You're scolded for saying what you want. You get in trouble for it. You don't really understand what even just happened. Because naturally, if you are a mother or a father and you look at your own kids, what do your kids say? Like they naturally like, I want this, I want that, I want to have that, I want this. They haven't learned limitation. So as a child, you come into this world and abundance is your birthright. You literally see the world as endless potential, endless opportunity, and endless abundance. You don't know scarcity, fear, and lack until it's implanted in you from your caregivers. You don't know that that exists until you learn it from whoever is taking care of you. And when you start to understand this, you go, okay, whoa, hold on. Let me go back and remember where I learned it wasn't safe to express what I wanted. It wasn't safe to express my needs. It wasn't safe for me to even express my feelings. It wasn't safe for me to say what I needed. It made people mad. It made my caregivers feel upset. And so you go, oh, that's not safe. I'm not going to do that again. And we learn it, you guys, typically before we're even 7 years old, where we have these memories and then we're literally afraid to voice our true needs and wants for the rest of our lives. and will swallow them and hold them in. And you get so disconnected from your true self, you don't even know what you need or want anymore. And that's been my journey now, is uncovering, like, if someone asks me, what do I need? What do I want? What makes me feel loved? Could I even answer that directly with clarity, concisely, direct, and not expect somebody else to have to read my mind? Because something that I'm learning, and I've been really moving through this lately, of like trying to understand the most beautiful relationship dynamic you could ever create, right? Like I have this vision of divine union and true partnership being created. And I was thinking about this and I was like, man, you know what I think it really is for partners is you need to be willing to look at each other and actually understand there's no right, there's no wrong between you, right? Like, don't try to come at any conflict or disagreement with like who's right, who's wrong, but trying to understand both are true for each person and being like, how are we as a partnership going to merge the way I feel and see things, the way you feel and see things, and show up for each other in each other's needs and wants? And you can't do that if you don't know what you need or want. And I think what happens so often, especially as women, I can speak to this, and obviously I talk to a lot of people, is we kind of operate in this way of like knowing we want to be loved, adored, whatever. And the man a lot of the time thinks he's loving us by the things he's doing, but it's not our version. And obviously you guys have probably heard of the love languages and all that, and that's great. But I think it's at a deeper level because it's like some things can feel like love, but at the core, there's something you, wow, celebrating. At the core, there's something you deeply need if everything they're doing never feels like enough, right? And I feel like so many men always feel like nothing I do is enough. I can't make her happy. But they're having to try to give us love in the way that they think it will feel like love for us without us actually communicating what will feel like love for us. And I know for me, if I was asked this question right now, I'm getting to a place where I could give a clear answer, but it's only through relationship of the ways that I don't feel loved that I think it's helping me learn what love feels like to me, for me to really feel safe, connected, and truly loved by someone. And I share this because sometimes we make our partners bad or wrong. But what if all the ways you haven't felt loved was to show you the ways that you need it? And then in a non-triggered confrontational way, you learn to actually communicate that from partnership. Like you guys are wanting, you love each other. You want to take care of each other. You want to have an amazing relationship. When you can come to that consensus that that's your mission together, is to build a beautiful relationship, you can then take like what you need and want, and they can take what they need and want and not take it personally because it has nothing to do with you. It's like the ways I need to feel loved isn't saying you suck and you're not enough. It's saying this is what I need more of. And yeah, it might be a little uncomfortable to have to do the things that maybe are not super natural to you to meet the needs of the other. But I feel like they're always there almost as a mirror on purpose. Like you might need things that they naturally don't really give. And you're each calling each other higher by having to learn to give that thing. Because the way I kind of see it is like humans are humans. We are in this human experience. We all feel anger, rage, emotion, sadness, love. We want love. We want to feel loved. And obviously men and women are a little different. Again, I'm going to plug The Queen's Code because I think it's an amazing book. But ultimately, when you start to see it like that, you don't actually want things that different. You've just learned to feel love in different ways. Every single person on this planet, every partner, everyone. And so it's like, how can you learn to do that? And like, I'll give you an example. So if I was to think of my ex, right? I really feel loved when I feel seen and recognized in, I don't know, you could think of like my emotion or when I'm doing amazing things or whatever, like to be seen in that or to be told like, oh my gosh, I love this new outfit or like, you look so beautiful today. If I'm doing something really incredible, like you're doing an amazing job, you're an amazing mother. I hope you know that. And looking in my eyes and meaning that from the depths of your soul. Something like that means so much to me. I feel seen in that. If I'm stressed, for example, and they're like, hey, I can feel your stress. What can I do to help you? Like being able to just recognize what's going on for me or see ways to help me in some way that's going to like make my life better and easier. I'm going to feel seen in that, right? So like, for example, another one for me When I'm feeling unsettled or, like, not deeply connected, I usually just need to talk to, like, bridge that connection point. And so, like, emotional connection, yes? So for me, that might be what I need to feel loved and connected. Where for him, let's say, he may feel like he needs closeness through physical touch, but this is just most men and women. Women will feel like they need their needs taken care of, their emotions taken care of before they even want to give physical touch, especially if you're a mother, where men feel like they need physical touch to feel wanted and needed. So both ways, it's like, how are you going to learn to meet each other's needs? And it might not be really comfortable for me to want to give give that love and give that physical touch right away. For a lot of women, they struggle with this, but the men are craving it and needing it, but they're never really communicating that. Typically, they'll make it about like sex, and it's like, no, the touch you're wanting is not just sex. You want more than that. You want to be like rubbed and touched and made to feel like you're amazing. And so, anyways, you may have to learn if that's not your easy thing. Like you just want talking and connection. Okay, cool. That's what you want. He doesn't want that at all. He wants touch. You may have to learn to give the touch, even though it's not really what you want and what you need. And then he's going to learn how to give you, like, reach you in your emotional capacity. Does this make sense? So understanding that, like, the things that sometimes we're weak in, or it's not our best, it doesn't come easy to us. Sometimes I feel like we call in partners to have to learn that skill because ultimately we deep down in a real healthy, perfect dynamic, you do love physical touch. You're going to like acts of service. You're going to appreciate gifts. You're going to appreciate emotional connection. Everything, love is love. You're going to appreciate all of those things. Some people need more than others, but I think when we come into our own wholeness and oneness within ourselves, we both, men, women, everyone on planet Earth appreciates those things. We just learn to feel love based on our makeup from our parents in different ways. So we think we don't need those things. But what I've learned is like the things I used to think I wanted to feel love, as I've gotten to know myself way more, I'm like, no, 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 no. The deepest thing for me is like, I want to feel seen, heard, and truly loved on a really deep level from my person because I know they see me, like truly see me, which means presence. Like it's not that complicated. Where like I think we're thinking like we need things and we need this and we need that. And we need him to be like, "Blah." You don't. You need to feel truly seen and loved, which I feel at this point comes from truly seeing and loving yourself. And it's so annoying when people say that. But like the last 3 years of me going all in on this journey on myself, I'm telling you, because I truly see and know myself, I understand what I need now and can communicate it. So this brings it all back. Like until you go on that journey of getting to know yourself, you're going to point the finger at your partner and like be like, you're wrong and you're this and you make me feel like this and that and whatever. But it's like, how can you offer a solution if you don't know yourself? You need to be in a place that you actually kind of know yourself in order to even communicate what you want and need. And the way I've kind of been seeing this, and I'm going to keep this one shorter, so we'll end it here after this, is in a relationship, right? It's like what I'm kind of seeing for partnership is it's like nervous system regulation between the two of you, like almost co-regulation, where you guys know how to merge into one by like the breath. Where like you become each other's safe space that you can like co-regulate together. You can calm each other's nervous systems. It's not two separate nervous systems. Like one is feeling anxious and stressed and one wants to leave. But it's like, how do you honestly breathe together to find union, calm, and oneness in your partnership? And then understanding you guys are a partnership. I see so many couples fighting and arguing and blaming. And it's like, man, can we just remember we're in this because we love each other at the core, something in us, we loved each other. Now comes the hard part where we got to work through the shit. Like now you need to figure out, okay, that doesn't work for you in communication rather than be like, I'm not enough and they don't like me. No, it's like, how can we work through this together? And if partnerships just came at every conflict like that, and we're able to actually say like, okay, what do you need from me right now? And then you know how to communicate it because you know yourself. Think of how much conflict would be saved and like how many relationships would be saved and relationships would be better and more beautiful. Um, And so anyways, I've really been thinking on that lately and, like, trying to dissect relationship and what it really looks like because I really do feel like so many relationships end prematurely, and I'll say sometimes the endings need to happen because you can't do the hard work together. You've gotta separate and do some stuff alone in order to truly know yourself. I'll just say if you're in a season where you're in a really tough season with your partnership, relationship, whatever, you might need to go do separate work together, but, like, understand you can move through challenges if both people are willing to, like, really take a look at what each person needs and find acceptance and love for that person, as long as you're both committed to obviously becoming your best selves, which is really tough in the in between if they're not committed to that. And then in addition to that, of course, it's 333. Um, yeah, that's honestly kind of everything I wanted to talk about. I've just been moving through some tough emotions. I've been having a lot of reflection points on relationship, pieces that used to hurt me that I thought I'd let go of that maybe I haven't entirely. And then also learning how to come at that differently moving forward and not allowing that old version of me to come online just because those past hurts the version of me who I was when I was hurt in that way. So that's been interesting. Um, and what else was I gonna say? Yeah, like just taking the time to truly allow yourself to feel, allow yourself to process emotions, and in that you will get to know yourself better. And rather than thinking of the times where you didn't feel supported or you didn't feel loved or whatever, rather than even blaming the other person and being like, "Oh, they weren't a good fit. They didn't love me in the way I needed to." It's like, what did you actually need though? And starting to get clear on what you needed. Because I think as women especially, and men too, right? We can all be overgiving sometimes. We can all put others' needs ahead of our own. And it's relearning like, what do you actually need and want though? Because to have a true successful relationship, you're gonna have to learn to communicate that. And yes, you can try to expect someone to know how to meet you there, and there's, like, baselines of how to show love, care, and affection, obviously, but at the same time, it's like you need to be open and willing to say what you need, and for a lot of us, that's really uncomfortable. So, yeah, that's kinda what I've been moving through. If you have had some heavy seasons lately, I see you, I feel you, you're not alone. Um, Allow yourself to process them and trust that they're coming up for a reason, and you're always gonna be better off on the other side. So, I love you guys, thanks for being here, and I will see you in the next episode.